Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Mayuko and welcome back to my channel. Wow, so this video has been requested for many months and we're finally doing it! Today I'm gonna show you my Notion setup. This video is actually sponsored by Notion, so thank you to Notion for working with me on this one. I genuinely love their product. Even before they sponsored me, I really enjoyed using it, so it just made a lot of sense that we worked together on this, and I am so stoked to show you my Notion setup. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, Notion is basically like a productivity tool. You can take notes with it, you can make task lists, you can create calendars, you can collaborate with other people. It's one of those tools that you can really use it however way you want, and it's really freaking powerful. So today I'm going to walk you through my current Notion setup, walk you through some of the most important pages that I use on a day-to-day basis. And then kind of the second half of the video, I'm going to show you some of my favorite features and tools and tips and tricks for using Notion. Real talk though, I used to not like Notion actually. I used to come from other productivity management and note-taking apps, and I thought it was not a good app. But a friend introduced me to one after we had kind of a collaborative calendar table thing, and ever since then I'm wow, this thing is actually great. But yes, I was once a hater, but now I'm such a huge fan. I'm recommending it to everyone I can. I create shared pages with everybody because I'm I want them to know the greatness of Notion. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will also feel that way, or you'll just enjoy looking at what I look at every day. If at any point you're interested in using Notion and signing up, then you can use the link in the description box down below. Would appreciate you using that link instead of Googling it, because then it gets attributed to me, and maybe they'll want to work with me on another video because I love it. I love Notion. Thank you, Notion. Thank you for existing. I love you. All right, so here is my Notion. I have my planner as kind of my home page, my dashboard, and we'll get into that a bit. But I do kind of want to start off by talking about my calendar. So I use Notion primarily for all of this stuff: planning videos, writing videos, coordinating videos, as well as just other things as well, sponsorships, newsletter, Muko's Corner, literally anything that has to do with my work is all on Notion. Because a lot of my work is deadline driven, there's a million things happening at once, I like to have just one calendar that gives me a 30,000 foot view about all the things that are happening right now. So I had my assistant make this for me, and it is so useful, so incredibly useful. So the content calendar basically has many lists inside of it. We have a master list that kind of has all of the different stuff that I'm working on all in one place. And they all have this property called database, which then sorts each thing into is it a sponsorship? Is it a newsletter? Is it video content? And so on the left side, you can see here are the newsletters that I had planned. I'm working on relaunching it right now, so stay tuned, but it's a little bare right now. And then video content as well. Here are all the videos that I worked on in 2021. I have Muko's Corner stuff here. I have sponsorships, as well as just happenings, etc., etc. So these are all kind of just the different aspects of my life in work that I have, and I can see all of that together in the calendar. I'm not someone who really likes putting video timelines or tasks in my actual calendar, mostly just because I feel it gets colored. I like to use my actual Gmail calendar as a event calendar and not a work task calendar, and so it's really nice that Notion has this capability to do so. So by looking at the content calendar, I basically get a sense of all right, what am I working on this week and next week, which then informs what I put into my planner. So a lot of people use planners on Notion. A lot of people use dashboards. Some people make habit tracking things, as well as diaries, journal entries, dream logs. I use mine really as kind of a bullet journal replacement. I used to bullet journal a lot in a paper and pen medium, but not so much anymore because I found this. And really it's just because all of my stuff is in the content calendar. All of my video things are all here, and so it makes sense that my planner is also here. So my planner itself, I have a little area at the top for like, what am I focusing on this week? What are my intentions? Just like notes to myself. And then I also have dates, deadlines and dates to meet this week. Again, this is like not a 30,000 foot view, but like a 5,000 foot view about like, okay, what's happening this week? What are my intentions and what are my goals? And then I have this kind of like Monday through Friday spread. Basically every day in the morning, I go to the day that it is, and then I type in, what am I committing to today? And as I go throughout the day, I can check back and be like, okay, what else do I have to do? I can check off things. It's just easy and organized. And then underneath this like Monday through Friday spread, I do have like a rolling task list, because sometimes things aren't urgent, but they still need to be done. And I don't exactly know when I'm going to be doing things. So another thing that I'll do usually on Monday mornings is to fill this out with like all the things that I'm doing that week or in the future. This is also really helpful because I tend to sign up for a lot of things and say yes to things, but I don't always like remember to do them. So if I say yes to something, they just immediately go in here. It's kind of just like, okay, and just so that I make sure I don't forget, let's just like put it in the rolling task list. I don't know when it's going to be done, but it is on my radar. So that's my planner. I also made a planner for my writer, assistant, and editor, so that they have a space that they can kind of just like think on and like plan on as well. So in addition to calendars and planners, I also use this as like a note-taking device. So you'll see in like my 2021 plan, which is a living, breathing document that really is just my brain dumping stuff, I have just a bunch of notes about like, this is what I want to be doing this year. I made this at the beginning of the year just so that I like can stay focused on like, okay, what are my goals? Like, what are the things that I should be thinking about? What am I committing to doing and when? So it's just a place for me to think, really. The next part that I really want to dive into for my Notion setup is this video tab. All right, so this is where like all of the magic happens. These are where all of my videos are. So I basically just like have this as like a rolling task list again for videos. All of my scheduled videos go into this content calendar because they all have a target date. I get to set like the status for things, as well as like final versions of scripts, outlines of scripts, who's the writer, who's the editor, and then the type of video that I'm making. I also watch a lot of like Notion setup videos because similar to like bullet journal videos, they're very soothing, and I'm just like, wow, I'm like so productive. I'm watching how to be productive. And so I took a note out of Thomas Frank's video about creating like this nice little video template for how to like create videos. Basically, this is the one for this video. It's a little bare because I just have an outline. The video that I published yesterday about like transitioning out of college and becoming an adult has a very full page, and so at the top I kind of talk about like, okay, what is this video about? What's the one-liner about what the topic is? I have a timeline for all the different parts. It's really just a Gantt chart to see like what are people doing when to get this thing out. And then I also have a storyboard which has the script on the left side and the shot on the right side. I have title ideas, tags and keywords, sponsor info. This is very similar to Thomas Frank's setup. And then on the content side of things, I have like a bunch of different things: research, outline, scratch pads, all the different drafts, and the final script. So that's my content calendar. Underneath all of this, I also have like ideas for future videos. So whenever I think of an idea, I just like dump it in here because maybe it's not ready to be created, but if I'm always like, what video am I going to make next, which happens all the time, I can just go to this list. I also have a list for videos for my Japanese channel here as well. Basically, lists on lists, tables. So freaking useful on Notion. Next is kind of the business side of things. I have like branding, payment info, merch stuff. I also have my sponsorship calendar in here as well to show me like who is sponsoring what at when, rates, stuff about the ad length and placement. That all goes into the content calendar as well. I used to have the video and like the sponsorship really tied together where it was related to just like one item, and one item had all of the information about the video and a sponsor, but I decoupled them because I started making like videos specifically just for brands, and I'm like, no, I want to make videos that brands sponsor. And I want to have creative control. And so I've made those two into different entities so that when I go into the content calendar, I can move like, maybe this video is not sponsored by Brilliant, maybe this video is. And so it's easy to kind of just like decouple all of those things. And then the rest, I have like meeting notes. So anytime I'm meeting with anybody, I have like a running meeting note list to just like have a place to like scratch pad it out. It's all very jumbled and whatever. I also have Muko's Corner stuff here, newsletters, future ideas that I bump into. And I just like put it all down in somewhere so it's not in my brain. A happenings page, etc. Like I use Notion for like many different things, and so these are all the kind of like different spaces in my broader workspace to help me organize myself. All right, so for this part of the video, I'm going to show you some of my favorite features that like really made me fall in love with Notion. And we're kind of going to do like a pair programming style for this one. Hopefully the demo gods are here with me and I can do things without messing up. But you know what? This is edited, so my editor can edit out my mistakes. Maybe. Okay, so the first thing, you guessed it, is tables and databases. So I'm going to make a new page. Maybe let's call it just like social life stuff. Maybe I want to track things on my social life. So you can create various elements in a Notion page, one of which is a table. You can make it inline or whatever. So you can create a table, and let's call this like events. So tables in Notion work very similarly to like literal databases. So let's say like, okay, hangout, like potluck, let's add a few things here. What other social events? Concert, hangout, and then like let's add another like thing here, maybe multi-select with who. Let's call my hangout with James and Sarah. I don't know who these people are. And Lulu. Oh goodness. Lulu. For instance, and then the potluck is with like Lulu, and the concert's with Sarah, and like this one is with James, for instance. And then I can set also a date for like when. And then I can also be like where. I think this has to be text though. Yes. So when? I don't know, like this day, like this day, and that day. And then where? Lulu's house, Golden Gate Park, and then James' house, for instance. So now I have like a pretty good like database. So one of the things that you can do on a table on Notion is you can filter things, and it really is just like you're querying for certain things. So let's say, let's create a filter for hangouts with Lulu. So contains Lulu. So now I can see that I'm hanging out with her, and I also have a potluck scheduled with her. So you can set a lot of filters. You can add multiple filters. You can add filter groups. Pretty powerful here. It's really like nice to be able to see all of these different things. And then you can also sort things as well. So let's get rid of the filter, remove, because I don't believe this is sorted. So now I can set a sort, and let's say it's sorted from most recent to later, just later. Okay. So yeah, tables, databases, really nice. Say that now I also wanted to create a calendar view of this. This is kind of one of the really nice things about Notion. A view lets you see the same database in multiple ways. So because this is like a social life calendar, like I want a calendar. So let's set a calendar. Now it takes all of the stuff that I entered into the table, and based on the date that I have, it sets it as a calendar, which is really nice. So now I can see exactly like, oh, this week I have a potluck, or I had a potluck yesterday, I have a hangout tomorrow, next week I have a concert and a hangout. And then you can also create like specific calendars with a certain sort and filter. So let's say I want to make a calendar called Lulu. So these are all the times that I'm hanging out with Lulu, okay? Where's the filter? Filter. And then I say with who contains Lulu. So I'm hanging out with her this week. You can have just so many different ways of looking at one view. Calendar and table are one of the most like common things that I use. You can also use it for a Kanban board, which is really nice for project planning and bug tracking. So it's very similar to like other bug tracking task things out there. You can also see it as a list, a gallery. There's just so many ways to like see one set of data at once. And I like the flexibility of that because you do want to be able to see like, you want to enter it once and view it in many different cuts because all of those cuts and views are good for a different thing. So yes, tables and databases in Notion, I think one of the strongest, best features of this thing. So the next thing that I really, really like about Notion is templates. So basically on Notion, you can create your own templates for pages, and you can also use other people's templates as well. So if you click into this templates thing here, it'll show you some pre-made Notion templates. And right now this is very like in a tech company, you have design, engineering, human resources, etc., but it's also used often for school, so taking class notes, for job applications, grade calculator. It's all very extensive, and obviously you don't have to use every single thing of the template, but what I do often is I'll find a template in here that I like, copy paste it, and then kind of make my own version of it. Like, it's cool because it's like, sometimes you don't know exactly what the best way to like format all of your information is. At the end of the day, like, Notion gets you really good at information architecture and kind of helps like create a mind palace on paper from your brain. And seeing other templates do that, like seeing examples of how others do it, is really helpful for like, okay, this is a good way of like laying out different things. The other thing too about templates is that you're not limited to just these templates. You can also browse more templates, because a lot of people have made lots of different templates out there. There's just so many different things, like everything from like nonprofit fundraising to a brainstorm to I've seen some really interesting stuff in here before. Disaster prep plan, like what's your earthquake plan? Kind of an example of like a resume that you can write out if you need a space to do so. You can also export as a PDF if you want. And then kind of in this part, like, oh my goodness, puppers. If you want like a thing of all of your dogs. Here's Ali Abdal's 2020 annual review template. I really like take a lot of inspiration from Ali's videos for Notion and just other life stuff as well. So his stuff is in there, as well as bullet journal, I believe, is in here as well. I think I took mine from probably Matt's, actually. My friend Matt Ragland. It's kind of similar. He's kind of a bullet journal aficionado. He made this template. There's a couple. I think I actually took it from this one, now that I think about it. This looks very similar to what I have right now. You can create a recipe book. Like, really the limits are, and like there are no limits when you think about what you can do with Notion. There's actually like a subreddit for Notion, and I've been looking in there for inspo, and a lot of people make their Notion pages so pretty, like just visually, but also really well organized about many, many different things. Oh, here's the Thomas Frank video production one that I kind of used and remixed into my own. So yeah, there's just so many different like templates that if you don't know where to start, like, because sometimes starting something from scratch is hard and scary. If you just take something that you like through a template and then just make it your own, great. And so I have templates set up for like videos here. So if I create a brand new video, and I open this page, then I have the option to use the video template. And yeah, so now I have all of this stuff here already, and I can already start working on my video. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about that I love in Notion is collaboration. So Notion has a lot of different like tiers and pricing depending on how many people are in your team. And if people are in your team, then they get access to everything. But a lot of the time, I just want to share like one page with one person because I'm working on one project with like another YouTuber, or I'm writing notes with somebody from one specific meeting. You can add people as guests to specific pages by clicking share and then adding people and their emails so that they can see just that page. I actually have like a lot of guests in my Notion, especially just because I want everyone to use it. When I was writing like my TED Talk, for instance, I had my speaker liaison person. I was just like, can we like agree to just like use Notion as a living, breathing document for my script? And he was like, sure, I've never even used it. So I invited him to my Notion page, and we both got to like comment on things and edit things. And that's kind of the workflow that I have with my team right now. And it's proving to be very, very useful. I also get added to like Notions of like friends and family and stuff. Like when my brother was planning to move back to the States, he created like a Notion page of like, here's my game plan. I'm going to share this with Mayuko so she can look it over and see if it's sound. And it's free. Like adding guests to your Notion is free. And I think that's a really, really useful thing. Also, whoever you invite onto Notion, they don't have to have the app downloaded. It creates like a URL that you can look at on the web. And so it really like the whole process is really streamlined. There's not really a lot of like barriers of entry into using Notion. But of course, being like the Notion aficionado I have it downloaded as a desktop app because I like using desktop apps more than web apps. I also have the iPad app, which I don't know if you can see this, but it has my outline for this video that I'm looking at while I film. And then, of course, I have it on my phone because sometimes I just want to look at stuff quickly. And I also have it as a widget. Notion has widgets on iPhone, and so my planner link is right here. So if I tap on that, it'll just show my planner. So I can see like on the go, what am I supposed to be working on? The next thing that I want to talk about, which I think is like, this is what a lot of people talk about. This is really like one of the other main powers of Notion, I think, is the formatting capabilities. So when it comes to like note taking and putting like thoughts into this, it's very like simple and easy to like add stuff, but it also follows a similar kind of like formatting style to Markdown. So 1 pound is like a heading 1, 2 pounds is like a heading 2, 3 pounds, heading 3, and then you can also like bold things, like all of the basic things, obviously, that you can do. You can also add code blocks in Notion, which I feel like these days, like so important to be able to do that. So you can either create a code block or you can convert things into a code block, and they have lots of different programming languages that it recognizes, and so it'll actually like do the formatting and color coding and stuff for that programming language. You can also create like toggles. You can also create quotes. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, I believe. One of my favorite things right now is call outs, just because sometimes you do want to call out something, but not bolded, like you want to make it look different. So like, remember to brush your teeth or something like that. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do to format things. If you use the / command, you can see all of the different things that are at your disposal. Oh, I also like adding dividers to things. What else? You can mention people, you can embed certain things. So I like to embed videos, I like to embed PDFs. And you can also add files. There's also a lot of like integrations with lots of other apps and stuff as well. So if you just connect the two, great. Notion actually, I think, rolled out a Notion API recently, and so you can even build against Notion on your own. Oh, and colors. Colors are important. Colors. You can set text colors and background colors to whatever you want. The last feature that I want to talk about on Notion is the whole hotkeys feature. This is really what makes me think that like Notion is like a pro tool for heavy users. Because you know that if an application has hotkeys, it means that they mean business, you know? Like it means that there are people who can't be bothered to use their mouse because they're so busy writing stuff or coding stuff. But also it's just nice. I like using hotkeys for things. And I'm by no means like hotkeys like expert, like I still use my mouse, but it's still nice to be able to quickly get to things. So the first one that I just showed is if you use a / command, then you can like quickly create something like that, or you can create like a table or something. It's very similar to kind of like the whole like / commands on Slack or Discord or whatever. Another hotkey that I use often is Command P, which quickly opens stuff. So if I want to open something of specific page, then it's just easy to get there, because sometimes things get really embedded like far down into things and you don't want to like click around for it. So that's easy. It's kind of like a command space sort of deal. The other hotkey that I use often is like Command Shift N. That creates like a new page on Notion, and so you can have 2 different pages side by side. You can also close a sidebar with Command \, and so you can just have like only these 2 pages. And I like doing that because sometimes you want to look at one page in Notion while writing in another. Of course, you can do Command N for like a new page, and then Command Enter to make this page like full screen. Those are all typical hotkeys that you'd see in like coding IDEs, and they're really all here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are all the features that I like, as well as a little walkthrough of my current Notion setup. I'm not like a Notion expert, like I love Notion, but I still feel like there's so much that I don't know about it, and it's really fun to kind of learn more about the tool and like see how it works for me in my use cases. It kind of feels like learning a new program, sort of. So I feel like it's really well suited for like developer types. So let me know what you think. Have you used Notion before? Maybe you already love Notion. What features do you like? The best part about Notion is that for your own personal account, it's free. And so you can just kind of download it and see if you like it. it. Try to create a couple of things for your work life or your personal life. I always have it up and running on my computer so that I can easily get to it, because it's really just like, I hate storing information up here. I like putting it somewhere. And because I can type faster than I write, I tend to put it all on Notion. I also use Notion for my Hongo Academy, and it really helps me and my co-founder to stay organized about all the tasks and all the notes and stuff. And so, like, it's very much proved to me that it's an important necessity in my life. So again, if you're interested in using Notion, then sign up using the link in the description box down below and let me know what you think. Also, if you have any like template recommendations and stuff, send them my way, because I freaking love templates. So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to click the like button if you liked this setup. Let me know what other setup tours you'd like to see in the future in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!